I was on my way to work and I got to the traffic lights, and as I was going over the traffic lights, an articulated lorry came the other way and he basically went over on red.
Everyone familiar with head injuries knows that it is probably the worst kind of injury to have.
It came quite out of the blue. I'd not been ill beforehand, and I suddenly just collapsed over the table. And the last thing I can remember is my son saying, Mum, are you all right?
It can result in emotional changes or in physical disability.
Feel very lost and alone when something like that happens to start with, and you think, oh, my life's finished now, I'm not going to be able to do anything anymore.
It can also affect people's ability to think, to reason or to remember.
I kept repeating everything. I'd say something 1 minute and then I'd say it again. And I used to get very frustrated not being able to do simple tasks that I could do before, you know. It was so depressing.
Brain injuries can be acquired in many ways. One is from accidents on the road, in sport or in the home, or it might be the result of an illness, for example, strokes, brain hemorrhages or meningitis. Lastly, a brain injury can result from an assault. No two cases are the same, and the resulting disabilities can range from the absolutely minimal to the very severe. Headway, North Worcestershire is just one of around 100 centres of the national charity, Headway. They all aim to provide information, support and rehabilitation services to adults with an acquired brain injury, and to provide help and support for their families and carers. The area that the branch serves in Worcestershire goes from Redditch, Bromsgrove and Stourport in the south to Tenbury Wells. Assisting in rehabilitation is one of the important objectives of Headway. Another is to help people to come to terms with their disabilities. Headway provides support for members in two ways. Firstly, there is an outreach service supporting people in their homes, along with their families and carers. Secondly, there are 2 day centres, one in Bromsgrove and the other in Stourport, with a range of activities to assist rehabilitation. In both services, the overall aim is to help people with a brain injury in their everyday living, to restore their confidence and to enable them to lead as active a life as possible with their families, friends and within their communities. For each member, possibly the worst part of having a brain injury is the initial feeling of bewilderment. After Keith was involved in a car accident, he spent 3 years at home before he discovered Headway.
I just seemed as if I was going nowhere. You know, I couldn't go back to work. That was my biggest obstacle, really. I'd worked for the milk for nearly, I think it was 25, 30 years. I kept saying I'd got to go back to work when I was in hospital. I said, I've got to go back to work and all this sort of thing, you know, but it didn't happen.
For Dawn, after she had been released from hospital following a brain hemorrhage, she was introduced to Headway by her support worker.
I told her that I missed being able to get out and about and do the things I used to do. So she suggested I come to Headway and try some of the day services. And I wanted to improve my mobility, so I said I'd like to go along to that.
It's only through the encouragement. That's what I can't stress enough. They don't make you do it, but they encourage you to do it. And that's what I think some of us need, just that little bit of a push. And, you know, okay, yes, we have had bad injuries, strokes, head injuries and what have you, and we can sit down feeling sorry for ourselves. but it's just that little bit of a, not being bullied, but encouraged to do it. And I think it's well.
Has it really boosted your confidence?
Absolutely. Just to get the opportunity to come here and meet other lads, you know, some of the boys, you know, the lads that's had strokes and what have you, and just to be able to talk to other people who've had the brain injury or the head injury or strokes and that, it's made such a difference. It really has, because it makes you realise that you ain't the only one.